Didn't see him.
Wo wird sich jetzt hintan? Where can he go now? Sein einziger Mokke Menucha is given Banacht in Pusten Besmedrish. His only place of rest was in the evening in the empty study hall. Pflegt sich behalten in die große Schattens. He used to hide himself in the big shadows. Und die Stillkeit hat abgekillt sein zerglitten Moech. And the silence calmed or cooled off his glowing, his heated brain. Wenn kann es bleiben aufständig in sein besmedrisch Winkel, if he could only remain forever in his corner in the besmedrisch, a vergessener in der Finsternis, forgotten in the darkness, and a verheulener von der ganzer Welt, and hidden away from the entire world. Jetzt hat der Gabe zugenommen bei ihm, sein letzten Mokke Menucha. But now the Gabbai had taken away from him his last place of repose. Wenn stellt sich dem Gabbai entgegen, wollten a Teilbalabatim sicher gehalten mit ihm. If he had opposed the Gabbai, then some of the congregation would certainly have taken his side. Nur führen a Krieg mit solche grobe Menschen wie Zalje und sein Gleichen, but to carry on a conflict with such nasty people like Zalje and his sort is nit in sein Natur, was not in David's nature, und nit for seine Keuches, and beyond his strength. Reb David zet, as hat verblonget a Ruf, Plotzker bis zu die Wälderte Berg. Reb David noticed that he had wandered away from the Plotzker Street up to the hills covered with a forest. Los der sich gehen zurück. He started going back. Und läuft mamisch vorbei sein Stub. And he actually ran past his house. Wie ein Schreck, als sein Weib soll nicht ausstrecken durch ein Fenster ihre Hand und immer reinschleppen. As if he were afraid that his wife might stretch out her hand through a window and grab him in. Da ergets, tracht wohnt die Nähterin, was hat Chassene gemacht. Here, somewhere, he was thinking, lives the seamstress, whose wedding he performed. Sein lange abgetragene und leise Kapotte geht sich ihm a verplonter zwischen die Fies. His long, worn out and loose overcoat tangled a bit between his feet. Wie die Sitra Achre in die Gedanken, just like the evil side, literally, it means the demonic spirit world in his thoughts. Will nit al pi Zufall treffen die Nähterin? Might he not accidentally meet up with the seamstress? Und efscher soll sie allein aufsuchen. Perhaps he should actually look for her. Und sagen, als ob sie will Tage sich getten mit ihrem Mann, that if she actually wants to divorce her husband, is maskim, then it's okay with him. Sie hat doch ihm erzählt, als ihr Mann hat charata. She had of course told him that her husband had regrets. Halamai hat mit ihr Chassene gehat, that he had married her. Euch, Reb Levi Horowitz, hat sie ihm geschrien. Also, Reb Levi Horowitz had screamed at him. As der Polotzker Dayan, halt sich bei das Seineke, that he, the Polotzker Dayan, rabbi, was sticking to his point of view halt sich by das Zeineke, continues in his own way, mach misgaiva, because of pride, und akshonis, and stubbornness, nit von rachmonis after agune, and it's not because of merciful feelings towards the aguna. Es kann aber euch sein, als sie hat ausgetracht wegen ihr schlechten Zusammenleben mit ihrem Mann. But it could also be that she thought up this idea of divorce because of her unfortunate living together, schlechten, her unpleasant life together with her husband. Kedei zu raten ihm und sein Mishpocha, in order to save him and his, that she thought up this story about not doing well with her husband in order to save Reb David and his family. Yeah, sie is a Mitzianis. Yes, she is certainly something special. Bei ihr is recht bleiben a Verstoßene und Elente, a bi im Ratevin. As far as she is concerned, it makes sense to be pushed off and solitary in order to save him, the rabbi. Reb David geht mit demselben Weg zurück heim. Reb David goes on the same path back home, und redt zu sich, hoich auf den Kol, and speaks to himself aloud. Weiß nicht und will nicht wissen. He doesn't know and he doesn't want to know. Sie die Nähterin und ihr Mann leben besholem oder nicht, whether the seamstress and her husband are living together in peace or not. Wird savisai kein charaten nicht haben. In any case, he will not have any remorse. Weil hat gepaskent al pidin, because his judgment was according to the law. Und weil sein Charate wird ihm noch mehr kalje machen, and any regrets would make it even worse. Ob wird it's noch geben, if he'll give in now, wird sich allein stellen für an Amoritz und Ligner. He'll show that he himself is an ignorant person and a liar. Was nennt Reb David kommt zu sein Stub, the closer Reb David arrived to his house, als Pamelacher wird sein Trott, all the slower went his footsteps. Will, as der Weg soll sich ausziehen was länger. He wanted the path to drag out as long as possible. Tracht wegen Reb Levi's Strashenim. He was thinking about the scolding that Reb Levi had given him, as mevetim ufherren sollen schires, the threat that they would stop paying his rabbinic income. Azoi wie is weg von bestem Stub für an Ausgang von der Rasifa. As soon as he had left the judgment hall, before the conclusion of the meeting, weiß nicht, was die Rabbonim haben dort beschlossen. Now, since he left before the ending of the meeting, he did not know what the rabbis had actually decided there. Like Nusach von der Madoa, according to the exact reading of the announcement, Zeter, he sees, as they haben sich gehit von harbe diburim, that they stayed away from harsh words, und im gelost an offene Tier verscholem, and they left an open door for him to make peace. Blois amoratzim und seine damsonim kennen die Moda oistaichen. Only ignorant people and people who are his blood enemies could understand the announcement, the acherem kegenim, as if it were a ban against him. Von der anderen Seite, but on the other hand, is meglich, it's possible, as chotch kein cherem hat men af im nit ausgerufen, that even though they had not called down a ban upon him, that im kein scheres nit sollen, they'll still not pay him his income. The Reb Levi hat him masre metare given. What is that word?
It comes from hater.
They warned him.
Warn him. Yeah.
It's from heter. So metare or masare given. Okay, as Reb Levi had warned him. Hat es sein Rebbetzin nicht erzählt. That he hadn't told his wife. Wie viel hat Heinz schon erzählt? As much as he had explained to his wife. Hat aber auf dem kein Mut nicht gehabt. For that matter, he had no energy, no, yeah, I'll say energy.
Courage.
Courage is good. Yeah, he had no courage. Thank you. Übermorgen darf Josefel gehen durch die Sphäres. Tomorrow, his son Josefel should go there for the payment, for the rabbinic income. Wollte Refscher jetzt bedarft allein heruntergehen, but maybe he himself should go there in Stadt und sich der Wissen into the city and see for himself was es ist auf ihm nigzer geworden, what has been decreed against him. Aber tief in Herzen, but deep in his heart, hat Reb David gewusst, Reb David knew, as wird nicht gehen, that he was not going to go. Und ist Tage nicht gegangen. And in fact, he did not go. Good.
Okay. Die Rebbetzin hat aufgehört weinen, schielten und haben Teines. His wife had stopped crying, cursing, and complaining. Sie ist ganze Tag gelegen auf dem Bett. She lay on the bed for days on end, schwer geatmet und geguckt auf den Suffit. She breathed heavily and she stared at the ceiling. Oder geguckt, wie ihr Mann nianschet sich mit sehr krank Eufele. Or she looked at her husband, at how her husband was nursing their sick child. Von Zeit zu Zeit hat sie geworfen einen Blick zu der Tür und gewahrt, als Balaboster soll reinkommen, fragen nach Scheila. From time to time, she gave a glance at the door, waiting for a housewife to come in to ask a question, a halachic question. Aber keiner hat sich mehr nicht bewiesen, but nobody appeared. Edel hat geschwiegen mit verbissenen Lippen und bloß einmal so getan, mehr zu sich wie zum Mann. Edel remained silent, biting her lips, and only once she said, more to herself than to her husband, wo denn die Balabatim willen besser schicken ihre Weiber mit der Scheile in Stott, eider zum Dayen auf sehr Gas. So what else? What then? The householders would rather send their wives with a religious question into the city rather than to the rabbi on their own street. Es wollen sich noch gefinnen euch a selche Balabatim, was wollen heißen seire Weiber a Reus warfen die Kalim. And there would also be those householders who would tell their wives to to throw the dishes out. Auszumeiden Bisionis in sein Beschmedres auf Zarecha is Reb David gegangen davenen in einander Klois auf jener Seitbrick, in order to prevent shame, disgrace, in his synagogue on Zarecha Street. Reb David went to daven, to pray, in another synagogue on the other side of the bridge. Donnerstag in der Früh, wenn is gewesen beim Davenen, hat die Rebbetzin geschickt Joseflen in Vad Harabonim noch die Schirus. So Thursday morning, early Thursday morning, when he was at davening, it was at synagogue davening, the Rebbetzin sent little Yosef to the rabbinic council for the rabbinic wages. Beis Reb David is zurückgekommen vom Beschmedres, hat Leut sein Weibs Aussehen und Schweigen gleich erkennt, wo sein Engel ist gegangen. When Reb David came back from the study house, he immediately saw, according to his wife's the look on her face and her silence, that he immediately recognized where their child had gone. Die Rebbetzin is gelegen auf dem Bett in die Kleider. His wife, the Rebbetzin, was lying on the bed, fully dressed. Gewickt mit ein Hand die kranke Kind, so she was rocking with one hand, she was rocking the sick child, und auf ihr Ponim hat gegliefert a Finsternis, wie sie wollt gewahrt auf ihr Mishpat. And on her face was frozen a darkness, as if she were waiting for her judgment. Leben oder Tod, to live or to die. Arum halben Tag hat Joseph reingesteckt dem Kopf in Tier und ausgeschrien. Around midday, little Joseph stuck his head around the door and he shouted out, Der Kassierer hat mir gesagt, als mehr wird man dem Taten kein Schirres nicht zollen. The treasurers said, told me that they would no longer pay any rabbinic money to my father. Josefel is a viele in Stub nicht rein, aus meire der Tate soll ihm nicht zwingen, sich wegsetzen lernen. So little Joseph didn't even come into the house out of fear that his father would force him to sit down and study. Die Rebbetzin is heruntergekrochen von Geleger und is in die Socken mit zerschäuberte Haar sich losgetan zu der Tier. The Rebbetzin got up off the bed, and in her socks, with disheveled hair, she uh, moved towards the door. Ich will die Augen ausstrappen, hat Edel ausgestreckt voraus ihre ausgekrimmte Finger mit den Nägeln. I'll scratch her eyes out, said Adel, stretched out her crooked fingers with the nails. Sie, die ausgelassene Agune, is in alles schuldig. She, the debauched Agune, she's to blame for all of this. Über ihr werden meine Kinder sterben von Hunger. Because of her, my children will die of hunger. Sie ist nicht schuldig. Ich bin schuldig, hat Reb David gemurmelt und still gezittert mit dem ganzen Guff. She's not to blame. I am to blame. Reb David mumbled, and his whole body was quietly shivering. Sie ist gewesen bei mir in Klois und gesagt, als sie ist great sich getten mit ihr Mann. She came to me in the synagogue and she told me that she was prepared to divorce her husband. Nur ich hab von ihr verlangt, sie soll sich beschumöfen mit ihm nicht getten. But I begged of her that she should, under no circumstances, divorce him. Azoi, du treffst sich mit ihr und ich weiß nicht von dem. So that's, you meet her and I didn't know about it. Haben die Rebbetzens dunkle Augen gespritzt mit wilden Hass. The Rebbetzens dark eyes shone with wild anger. Ich hab gefühlt, als zwischen euch kommt etwas vor. I felt that something was going on between the two of you. Sie ist Inge von mir, schöner von mir und Verdienerke. She's younger than me, she's prettier than me, and she earns money. Schweig, lost Reb David a roisa Geschrei. Als die Rebbetzin bleibt verzappelte und guckt ihm an der Stointe. Quiet, Reb David let out a yell, and his wife remained startled and looked at him stunned. Sie hat ihr Mann noch kein mit nicht gehört also schreien. She had never heard her husband shouting like that before. Wegen sein eigen Weib und Kinder tracht nicht. Nicht gibt die Rebbetzin a Fall auf ein Geleger in Onkeuches. About his wife and children, he thinks nothing about his wife and children. The Rebbetzin fell back onto the bed with no strength. Du bist Meshuga. Zu uns in Stub hat die Nähterin Meure gehabt kommen. You're crazy. The seamstress was afraid to come into our house, weil du hast sie herausgetrieben, because you chased her away. Is sie gekommen in Beschmedres, mir sagen, as sie is great sich getten mit ihr Mann. So she came to me in the study house to tell me that she was prepared to divorce her husband. Aber uns verhitten von sorrows, so that, to protect us from trouble. Aber ich hab ihr geantwortet, als sie wird mir durch dem Tonara Aroa nicht kein Teuver. But I answered her that by doing this she would do me a wrong and not do me a favor. Es wird heißen, als a viele die AGUNE halt nicht von mein Heter. Und ich will allemen beweisen, als ich bestehe ja auf mein Psakdin. It would mean that even the Aguna herself does not hold by my permission, and that I would demonstrate to everybody that I stick by my judgment. Soll man Joseflen treiben von Cheder, soll man mich nicht rechnen zu Arminien, und sollen die Rabbonim mir nicht sollen kein Schiris, ich will nicht noch geben. Let them chase little Yosef away from the Cheder. Let them not count me into as part of a minion, and may let the Rabbonim not pay me any rabbinic money. I will not yield. Aber von wannen wollen wir leben und sollen dire Geld? Weint die Rebbitzen rein in Kischen. But how will we live and how will we pay rent? The Rebbitzen wept into her cushion. Der Feldscher will mehr nicht kommen zu mottelen, weil man is ihm schuldig für Visiten. The folk doctor will no longer come to mottle the sick child because we owe him for visits. Und auf a Fläschel Milch für ein Kind, wo wollen wir nehmen? And where will we get the money to buy a bottle of milk for the child? Josef wird bald reinfallen mit der Geschrei. Mama essen. Little Joseph will soon come out with crying, Mama, something to eat. Oi Gott in Himmel, Menschen mit gesinntere Herzen wie meine fallen und stehen nicht auf. People with healthier hearts than mine, they fall down and they don't stand up again. Und ich mit a Schlafherz leb auf der Welt, and I with such a weak heart, I remain living in the world. Leb und matte sich. I live and I suffer. Wo gehst du? Schreit die Rebbitzen zum Mann, was hat ungetan den Mantel. Where are you off to? The Rebbitzen shouted at her husband, who was had put on his coat. Ich geh borgen. I'm going to borrow money. Es seien noch do jeden Rachmonim b'nei Rachmonim. There are still Jews who are, or people who are Rachmonim,
Perhaps merciful.
can't think of the word, merciful people. Der Eberste was helft alle Gereidete, wird euch uns helfen, und demalt will ich opzollen die Geves. The Almighty, who helps the downtrodden, will help us as well, and then I will repay the debts. Niet by eer, du Herrst. Then you won't repay her. Bei ihr sollst du sich nicht derwegen borgen. You dare not borrow money from her. Gibt sich die Rebbetzin wieder a Riss von Geleger. The Rebbetzin once again shouted from her bed. Okay, Michael.
Okay. Reb David treft op hinter und quetscht mit die Achsel. Reb David retreats and shrugs his shoulders. Wie bei ihm wollt mehr kein Suffix nicht gewähren, als ein Weib ist runter von Sinnen. As if there was no doubt anymore that his wife is gone off her mind. Von Groß war Wunderung auf sein Rebbetzins Einfall, from the surprise, amazement at the Rebbetzins intuition, zerschmeichelt sich auf viele. He even smiles a little bit. Wie kann sie gar eine Minute erklären, als wird kein Worten bei der Freude, was hat Mattier gewähnt? How can she, even for a minute, consider that he would go and borrow from the woman that he has released from the marriage vows? Sie ist doch Punkt, wie Wort genommen hat. It would be exactly as if he was taking a bribe. Wird reingehen zu a Boss. He will go to a householder, to einem von die Jiden, was haben sich vor ihm eingestellt, ist der Gabe hat ihm Vase gewähnt. Let's see, he will go into a householder, to one of the Jews who have stood up for him at the time when the warden abused, denigrated him. A Rega bleibt Rabdovich stehen, a vertrogener und murmelt zu sich. A moment Rabdovich stood vertrogen, absent-minded, and murmurs to himself, Borten, borrow, avavet betten betorat ha'alvaha. Of course, he will ask according to the law of loans. I think that's right, I'm not sure, but I think there must be rules about loans. Von deswegen wird ausnehmen at nahe. Nevertheless, he will take out a condition, als Oiber wird nicht haben abzugeben, that if he will not have money to repay, soll man ihm das geborgte Geld verrechnen wie Stocker, wie eine Dove, that they should consider the money as charity, as a donation. Eine Dove, a donation, zerjammert sich die Rebbetzin, the rabbi's wife weeps, or sort of sobs. And a dove was to your nemen, a donation you will take, nor noch geben deine Chaverim, die Rabbonim, willst du nicht, but submitting to your comrades, the rabbis, you don't want to. And die schönste Iden haben gebeten, lovers, the finest Jews have asked for donations, and het is niet geen gazelle or niet geen charpe. A donation is not something that's robbed and not dishonorable. Aber noch geben will ich nicht, but to give in to them, to admit that I was wrong, I cannot. Beshum often nicht noch geben. No way can I admit that I was wrong. Schreit uns David und wird mit einmal eingebrochen. Rabbi David yells out, and with one at the same time, he is discouraged or shattered, ausgelöscht. The light is switched off, turned
Extinguished.
off, extinguished. Thank you. Bleibt stehen mit heruntergeloster Hand. He remains standing with hands hanging down. A kleiniker und eingeschrumpelter, a small and shrunken man. Wie ein Mensch, was steht einer allein auf große, nackte Stochem. A person who is standing on his own in a large, empty stretch of land, space. That niet auf Meilen weit kein Bäum, doesn't see a tree for miles around, kein Kuppe, a hay wo sich zu behalten, not even a haystack where he can hide himself, und wegt sich in spät, hartsticken, gedichten Regen, was geht on auf and is soaked from a late autumnal heavy rain that pours down without ceasing. Coleman Sheps, next chapter, Coleman Sheps, Meryl's husband. Meryl had gut gedenkt, Rab David Zelver's Warnung. Meryl remembered very well Rab David Zelver's warning, as ooit sie wird sich zu gehen mit ihr Mann, that if she will separate from her husband, wird man sagen, als viele bei der AGUNE is der Polotsker Dayan kein Rat nicht, that even with the AGUNE, the Polotsker judge is no rabbi. As easy to Coleman geworden wecher, so she became gentler with Coleman, zugeloster, more affable, friendlier, und geschmeichelt zu ihm freundlich umetig, and smiled at him friendly, sadly, wie im übergewehrten vor der Gleichgültigkeit, was sie hat ihm bis jetzt herausgewiesen, as if to reconcile with him for the indifference with which she has shown him up to now. Sie hat zu sich allein keines gehabt. She had complaints to herself and blamed herself for what she is a wilder action, that she is a wild, stubborn person. Wie ihre Schwester rufen sie, like her sisters call her. Warft sie auf Menschen an umgehen. If she takes a dislike to someone, is was soll nicht tun, whatever he might do, wird sie ihm Feind kriegen noch mehr. She will even dislike him even more. Über ihr Charakter hat sie sich gemacht, Sonne, der Moschke Cyrilnik. Because of her personality, character, she made a blood enemy of Moshe Cyrilnik. In ihm hat sie kein Tors nicht gemacht. She didn't make any mistake there. Warum ist Taka an Auswurf? Because he really is a scoundrel. Hat aufgehetzt die Stadt, man soll fordern a Mishpat auf dem Polotsker Dayan. He has roused the town that they should judge poor judgment on the Polotsker judge. Aber Kalman is doch ihr Mann und ein edler Mensch, but Kalman is, after all, her husband and a gentle, noble person. Hat alles getan, man soll sich nicht erwissen von seiner Chasna. He did everything possible that people should not become aware of their marriage, wie sie hat von ihm verlangt, as she had requested of him. Und wie viel bis Jonas ist ausgestanden, Simchas Torah in Stadtschule, and how much disgrace he went through in Simchas Torah in the town synagogue. Und deswegen hat sie sich mit ihm gerechnet, wie viel man rechnet sich mit einer Katz in Stub. But nevertheless, she weighed him up, measured him as, dealt with him as much as one deals with a cat in the house. Als hat Beryl sich gemussert und bei es Maße gewusst. This is the way Meryl lectured herself, reproached herself, and at the same time she knew, als sie will einreden in Herz, als sie will einreden ihr Herz in Gefühlen zu kalmen, was sie hat nicht. And she really knew that she wants to talk herself in, persuade herself, einreden, persuade herself in her heart that she has feelings towards Kalman that she really doesn't have. An ausgemattert von der Anstrengung, tired out from the effort, from the tension, lieb zu haben, ihr Mann mehr wie viel sie hat im gekannt lieb haben, to love her husband more than she can possibly love him, hat sie im Ganzen verloren, den schwarzen Winkel in die Augen. She totally lost the black sparkle in her eyes. Ihr Pony ist geworden zerknetschter. Her face became more wrinkled. Ja, in ihre Mäulwinkeln haben sich eingeschnitten Karpen von über 30 von einem über 30 Leben. And in her mouth corners, notches showed themselves from a bothersome life, a tiresome life. Und ihre Achsel haben sich eingebeugt, and her shoulders bent themselves in, wie sie wohl mit einmal geworden älter, as if in a moment she had become older. Ständig karg afraid, always scanty in speech, what he ist gerät unatalk. She now spoke, but incoherently, und gelost hastig laufen das Rädel von der Nähmaschine, and she let the wheel of the knitting machine spin quickly. Kalman soll nicht erkennen, ihr gemachte Freilichkeit und falsche Aufgeheitertkeit, that Kalman should not recognize her put-on happiness and false cheerfulness. Plötzlich hat sie abgehakt inmitten nähen. Suddenly she stopped in the middle of her sewing, sich frum eingewickelt in ihr Kopftuch und mit der Zither in Gold gebeten, der Mann soll singen für ihr Tfilis. So she stopped the knitting, sewing, wrapped herself religiously in a head shawl, and with tremor in her voice, asked her husband he should sing a prayer for her, wie in jenem Shabbos Nacht, wenn hat sich noch zu ihr geschachtet und sich zu singen beim Menschen. The same as the other Sabbath Eve, when he was still courting her and he sang loudly at the blessing. Aber Coleman is meer niet gelegen in zinnen door singen, but Coleman had no thoughts at all about singing. Had gebruikt meer niet gezocht, ihr zu gefallen, na viele nicht mehr. He wasn't looking anymore to please her, na viele nicht bemerkt, and he didn't even notice as he is him geworden verbitten zum Guten, and he didn't even notice that she was changing for the better towards him. Seit dem Skandal in Stockschul hat sich geschämt hereinkommen in employees. Since the scandal in the city shul, he was ashamed. He was shy. He was ashamed to come into a synagogue. Ist nicht gegangen auf der Kirche für die Mariares suchen Arbeit und sich euch nicht bewiesen auf dem Beis Olam machen als Chorus. He hasn't gone into, he was ashamed to go into a synagogue. He hasn't gone into the market where the painters look for work, and also hasn't shown himself at the cemetery to do memorial prayers. I think that's as far as I could go. Whoever wants to take over there.
Einmal. Oh, David Katz is gekommen. David, you want to continue?
Hello. Oh, hi. Shalom Aleichem. I continue right there with Einmal.
At einmal.
Dank. Einmal is mehr weg optrogen Arbeit und vereins Einkäufen auf den Zürcher Markt Essenwerk. Übersetzen oder nicht? Oder nur ja mit mitten an Übersetzung. One time is Meryl, she went to left and I guess left for work, I guess, Optrogen Arbeit und vereins.
I think that Optrogen Arbeit is she's a seamstress, so she is bringing some finished goods to the customer.
Oh yeah, bringing her work. Yeah. Doc, that makes more sense. That she's bringing Optrogen, bringing the Arbeit, not to work, but bringing the work, and together to sell at the Zürcher market, some sell for food, I guess. Oh no, einkaufen, to purchase food. To purchase.
To buy, yes.
To buy.
At the same time.
At the same time, vereins. She needs to buy food, einkaufen, like to go shopping for food. Zurückgekommen is the Teut Blase, ein aufgetreiselte. She came back and she was dead, just white, I guess, just pale, I guess. And aufgetreiselt, I'm sorry, something. Aufgetreiselte. She is
Sit.
I guess all shooken up. A Fall getan auf a Benkel und lang nicht gekannt ophappen de Motem. And she just kind of collapsed on a chair for a long time and for a long time just couldn't catch her breath. Wenn sie hat sich a bissel beruhigt, when she rested a little bit, hat sie Carmen erzählt, she told Carmen, als die Rabbonim haben in alle Kläusen gelost, Eushängen Zettlach gegen Polotsker, gegen Polotsker Dine. That she told Carmen that the rabbi is having in every little clois, every little study house, I guess, they put up little notes or notices, I guess, Zetlock, against the judge from Polotsk, the Polotsk judge. As der Gabbai von Zaritche Lois hat dem Rebben herausgetrieben von Beis Midrash. And that the Gabbai, the temple assistant manager von Zarish, from the Zarich Shul, Lois, throughout the rabbi from the Beis Midrash, or getrieben, I guess, throughout or not.
Drove out.
I don't know a good way to translate that. Men hat euch aufgehört, sollen Scheres und ihr geht über die Stieber Borgen Geld. And people stopped paying this person, the rabbi, salaries, Scheres, and he's going around through from house to house trying to borrow money, Borgen Geld. Ihr schämt sich nicht sogen, die Balibotem, als ob ihr Wert nicht haben abzugeben, soll man es im Verrechnen war Nedova. And he was not shy, or schämt sich nicht. He was not shy about saying to the house owners, Balibotem, the homeowners, I guess, the people, that if he would not have something to give, so
If he could not pay back.
Yeah, give back. Thank you. Yeah, if he could not pay back, that you should consider this, what you give me, is consider it verrekenen as a donation, a nadova, not an alms or donation, I guess, something, a small donation, a nadova. Der zählt hat es Maryland, Kremerker, plus man hat dem Dayan gegeben, gemilas chesed. So it was told to Mero, so a shopkeeper told this to Mero, that her husband gave the Dayan a gemilas chesed, some sort of a little financial contribution. Sees Mida Kenega Mida Hot Kalaman gesagt. It is a virtue for a virtue. How would you
Measure
translate
for
that?
measure.
A good deed for another good
Measure
deed.
for measure, tit for tat.
A tit for tat, a dunk. There, yeah, tit for tat's a good way to say that. Mida Kenega Mida. Yeah, they're fine. And should we? So like Lane invite her, or should we? Or does
Ja, gut, noch ein bisschen.
A bissel vos. Früher, what? Früher habe ich nicht gekannt, reingehen in a Klois über M. Previously, I was not able to go into a study house because of over it. Because of it, I guess über M.
Because of him.
Because of him, yes, better way of saying it. Eats can allein nicht reingehen in a Klois. Now he alone cannot go into a study house. I don't know if Klois is it like a small shul or a study house.
Yeah, it's a small shul.
Small shul. Hat Kalman geantwortet mit Heserik gebreckelt Kohl und ungestellt auf ein Weib Tamavata Kala Dik Honam. So Kalman answered with a hoarse, I guess, crumbly, a gravelly voice, and made, I guess, made for his wife a silly, Tamavat silly round, Kyladik round face. Now, wow, how do you put that into good English? Ongestelt for his wife, a Tamavata Kyladik honum.
I would say for Tamavata, it's kind of simple.
A simple, yeah, simple, not foolish. Yeah, simple, a simple Kyladik, round or smiley.
Yeah, means round, but here
Maybe smiley, happy face. I don't
it's
know.
not happy. It's expressionless, possibly.
Yeah, just simple, a simple round, a simple face without feeling one way or the other. Ein bisschen weiter. Pothead. Lieber geschrockener Hose. Coward, scared little rabbit. Hat mir auf ihm a Sprung getan via zerreizte Welfiger. Okay, so Meryl just jumped on him like a irritated little wolf. Zerreizte. Yes. Der Kas hat abgefrischt und ihre schwarze Augen haben sich zerblitzt in einem mit ihrer starken weißen Zähne. The anger rejuvenated, refreshed, I guess, her face, and her black eyes blitzen us made a
Sparkled.
Sparkled, yeah, sparkled, yeah, made a sparkle together, lighted up together, made her with her, yeah, sparkled together, blazed, I guess, together with her strong white teeth. A manspiel, bist du? Are you a man? A stama,
A schmata.
mata, bist du? Are you a man or a wet rag? I guess. I mean, schmata. An andere auf dein Ort, andere auf dein Ort, wird eingestellt das Leben fahren Reben. Another person in your place would put your life before the rabbi, would present your case before the rabbi, wie hat sich eingestellt vor dir, as he established it before you, und du sagst noch, als es ist recht auf ihm. So you should make your case before the rabbi as he would make it before you, and you would say,
Einstellen das Leben is to put oneself out. Someone in your place would have put himself out for the rabbi, just
For the
as he
rabbi.
put himself out for you.
and you would say what is right for it, and you say still that it is right for him, that this is still right for him. Oh, I say, yeah, oh, okay, eingestelltes Leben, yeah, I say, yeah. All right. Wenn ich bin nicht als a Gestrafter, if I were not punished so, wollte ich zahlen, dem Weiber begräber ausgerissen beide Augen. I would begräber the wife ausgerissen beide, I would not zahlen. Das ist a Wort, was ich weiß nicht. I would not.
Tzalia is the Gabbai who
To Tzalia,
who
that's a name.
drove the Rebbe, the Reb David
Yeah.
out of his
Oh,
shul.
yeah, that's her name.
His name, Tzalia.
Tzalia. Ausgerissen, ripped out both eyes. Yeah, I would to take out both eyes. Nor ich tor sich nicht onnehmen von Reben. Ich tor nicht. Nor only that but I should not do this for the sake of the rabbi. I should not do it.
Yeah, I must not.
I must
She's
not.
too involved. So I must not do this for the rabbi.
Yeah, this is not acceptable. Onnehmen von nicht onnehmen von rabbi, not appropriate for the rabbi.
No, it's not. The unemen is to take his part. I shouldn't
his
take
part.
the part of the rabbi. I shouldn't
Okay.
take up his side.
Yeah. Aber du wolltest doch bedarft überkehren die Welt. But you would, need to change your world.
No, you should have. You should have
should.
raised a ruckus.
Yeah, you should change the. Yeah, you
You
should
should
just
have.
turned over the world. Just
Yeah.
made a big deal about it. Yeah, as men is azah, azah Schlemazel unebachol vidu hat men nicht hasana. But since you're such a Schlemazel and Nebish, like you, one didn't have a wedding. I guess that would be it. I guess maybe there's a better way to.
I should never have married you.
One should not have. Yeah, one should not. Yeah. That's a much better way to say it. Yeah, men hat nicht hasana. One should not have. I should not have. We should not have. One should not have gotten married. Yeah. Oh, they're fine.
Okay, I'll take over for a bit here. Merel hat noch lang geschrien. Merel kept screaming for a long time. When Kalman is gestanden a gepleftech, and Kalman was standing there, confused, a vergoilemtech, like a statue. Danach hat sich genommen Rücken zu der Tür. Then he began to move towards the door, bis hat sich herausgerückt von Stub, until he had actually moved out of the house. Stemmelt hat sich Merel achab getan, and only then did Merel realize, as he hat ihr Schlamazel and Pachten gar nicht bedarf der erzählen, that she should have said nothing to her Schlamazel and coward. Sie darf im Halten verspart in Stub und stoppen wir ganz. She should have been keeping him in the house and stuffing him like a goose. Oi, wie es ekelt sie von ihm. Oh, how she is disgusted of him. Noch sie muss sich mit ihm halten, but she has to hold on to him. Weil azoi will der Rebbe, because that's what the rabbi wanted. Merel hat bitterer Lach getan. Merel bitterly laughed. Wird zurückkommen, ihr entlaufener Mann. He'll come back, her husband who's run off. Wollen ihre Geschreien helfen. Maybe her screams would help. Soll herabgehen in Stadt und vor etwas tun, fahren Polotzgerdaien. That he might actually go down into the city and just do something on behalf of the Polotzker Dayan, Reb David. Reden mit Menschen. Maybe he would speak with people. Mizol dem Rov azoy nit verfolgen. That people wouldn't attack the rabbi so. Merel hat eingespart dem Kopf in eisernem Ferdel von der Nähmaschine. Merel rested her head on the iron, well, it's part of the sewing machine, the Ferdel. I don't know what part of a sewing machine that is. Und verbissen die Lippen, and she bit her lips. Sie wollte sich Bodei abgegeben dem Hund, Moishke Zirolnik. I keep forgetting what Bodei is.
Even if even
rather, perhaps I'll translate it. She should have rather given in to that dog, Moishke Zirolnik, abi soll aufheben die Stadt fahren Reben, in order that he should at least raise the city on behalf of the Rebbe. Nor der Rebbe hat ihr angesagt, als sie soll sich nicht mischen. But the rabbi had told her not to get involved. Hat Moire fahren Weib und hat euch Moire fahr der Stadt. The rabbi is afraid of his wife and also afraid of the city. Wir sollen nicht sagen, als zwischen sie kommt etwas vor. That no one should say that between the rabbi and Merel something is going on. Wenn is allein und sie nicht kein Gebundene, if he were solitary and she were not bound in marriage, wollte sie gewinnen bei ihm a Dienst. She would gladly, I'm adding, she would gladly be his servant woman. Noch ein Abläufen a Stückweg a Rop Polotsker. After he had run a while on the Polotsk street, hat sich Kalman abgestellt, abziehen dem Atem. Kalman stopped to catch his breath. Aza eine is that the sort that she is? A blinder can doch sehen, as he hat lieb dem Rov. Even a blind person could see that she is in love with a rabbi. Nicht ihm, ihr Mann, not in love with him, her husband. Gedenkt noch, ganz wohl, wie sie hat ihm die ganze Zeit abgestoßen von sich. He remembers still quite well how she pushed herself off the whole time, pushed him off the whole time. Und Chasna gehat mit ihm erst nachdem, and she only married him nachdem wie der Polotsker Dayan hat es ihr geheißen. Only after the Polotsker Dayan asked her to. Then is Simchas Torah zurückgekommen nach Heim. When on Simchas Torah he came back home, und erzählt die Charpes, and he told her about the disgrace, was is ausgestanden in Stadtschau, that he lived through, that he experienced in the city synagogue, and often Schulhof, and then in the courtyard of the synagogue, hat sie verbrochen die Hand. She wrung her hands, und ihre erste Ausgeschrei, but her first expression is given as der Polotsker Dayan hat sich angemacht an Unglück. As that this was a terrible misfortune for the Polotsker Dayan. Noch bis heint guckt sie jeden Tag heraus durch ein Fenster. And even till today, every day, she looks out of the window. Sie weist sich nicht if he isn't showing up in Gas mit sein Jingel, out in the street with his boy. Jetzt hat sie schon in ganzen herabgeworfen von sich, die Maske, but now she's entirely tossed off the mask from her face. Und immer rausgetrieben einlegen Welten bare Reben. And she has sent them out to do whatever he can for her rabbi. Good, Yankov a bissel.
Kalman ist gegangen, herab zu vorbei dem Zaretscher Markt. Kalman went as far and past the Zaretscher market und sich gezeugen für die lange Euren. And he
Tugged.
he pulled his long ears.
Yeah, he tugged on his long ears. Yeah.
Okay. Who is given sein Kopfprier? Where was his mind earlier? Hat doch gewusst, als sie es nicht kämpfen. He actually knew that she was not religious. Hat sich auf viele nicht aufgegeben, kein Cheshben, in was für eine Mishpocha kriegt rein. He didn't even take into account or look into the sort of family that he was getting involved with. Her mama is a prostitute. Her mother is a coarse woman. Ihre Schwester haben darunter dicke Männer. Her sisters are married to men who are worthless men. Und sie allein ist Mädelweis gewinn von die Madden, was haben geschrien gegen Kaiser. And she herself, as a young girl, was one of the young women who shouted against the Tsar. Hat sich doch bekannt mit ihr auf der Levaya von Sockenstricker oder Henschke Näherke. He actually met her at the funeral of a woman who knitted socks or sewed up gloves. Einer von jener Chavertes, was sagen, als es ist nicht so, kein Gott auf der Welt. One of her friends who would say that there is no God in the world. Was ist auf ihm Bichlal gewesen, das Beiser Eilenisch? Why did he actually want to rush into the relationship? Hat gehabt Arbeit bei sein Fach? Is gewinn a Stubmoller? If he had work in his trade, he was a house painter. Hat nicht gehabt kein Arbeit bei sein Fach, is gewinn a Feldchasen. And if he didn't have any work in his trade, he was a chazan in the cemetery. Hat ihm der nicht guter a Stub getan zu a Weibel von der Kompanie, was hat nicht kein Meirer war Gott und lacht von der Teira. So the evil in spirit or inclination pushed him towards this woman whose company nobody was afraid to say in front of God and laugh at the Torah, mock the Torah.
Yeah, Nish came right up for God. They had no fear of God.
Okay, and mock the Torah.
Right.
Hat Atos gehabt. Is gewinn verblendet. He made a mistake. He was blinded. nor der Emerse Chayev is der Polotsker Dayan, but the person who is guilty is the Polotsker Dayan. Der Dayan, hat es ihm vernarrt und ihm eingerät nehmen an Eishes Ish. This Dayan, the rabbi, hat ihm vernarrt. He confused him, and he encouraged him to marry a woman who was already married. Hat mich unglücklich gemacht. The Dayan, made me unhappy. Unglücklich gemacht. He made me unhappy. Hat Kalman geseufzt. Und die Fiss haben ihm vertrogen auf Zavalnagas. He sighed, and his feet took him to Zavalnagas, auf der Birge von die Maliaras. So his feet took him to Zavolnagas, to the exchange, the painters' exchange.